Have you ever seen a movie so disturbing, so morbid, it left you scarred into think about it from days on end? Well, that's what happened to me when I watched the most heinous war movie I probably ever seen, Come and See. Good evening, Kino Freaks, Notorious here. Tonight we're going to explore this Belarusian anti-Soviet war film made in, I'm checking the data now, 1985 and directed by Kilmov. I'm so sorry if I ruined that name. I'm not Russian. I'm not Russian. Who after making this film decided to retire from filmmaking because he didn't know how to step up from this one. Which, to be fair, I wouldn't know either. That's what we're here to do today. Also, before we start, I would like to, obviously, it should be obvious to some people since it is a disturbing horror movie, as the title would have said. This film does cover a lot of stuff, such as abuse, sexual assault, drugs. I'm sure I'm just gonna censor all that. You know what? Actually, how about terrible topics? And like before, I put it like here, where I put it. Because I refuse to utter any of the terrible words because the angry god YouTube might get me. But for those who stuck around, let's get started. We start with two Belarusian boys looking for some weapons because they're eager to join the war with the Soviet partisans. Listen, I'm not a history teacher, so if you're confused about any terms I say along this movie, don't worry, me too. I just did research. Maybe you should as well. Do your homework. Figure it out yourself. Anywho, we meet our protagonist, Flora. Flora? I'm going to say Flora. Let's say Flora. I'm probably going to keep saying different pronunciations, but that's fine. Flora finds a weapon stash, but both are seen by a recon aircraft. And I just want to say, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the speech and language is so terrifying, at least at the start. Like, it's so graspy, but it sort of works for this film. Shortly after, two recruiters constrict him into the military, making Flora leave his family behind in the nicest way possible. Separated from his family, Flora is now initiated into a bunch of colleagues. Look, they're even having a nice family photo together. Isn't war cute? Realizing the situation he's in now, he does what anyone would have done in this situation. Cry like a baby. Honestly, same. If I was in his shoes, I would probably piss and cry like a little baby as well. Not gonna lie. I do like this part of the moment where just 10 minutes ago, you see this girl wanting glory and adventure and just war like a normal kid. But as soon as he steps into that dark and messed up adult world, had a taste of it, he's just reduced back to what he is, a child. However, a little glimmer of hope shines on him as he meets a nurse, Glaska. I don't know, Glaska? Fuck these names. They have fun and connect through these troubling times until... I like to call this moment the first step of hell. Let me explain why. This is nothing in comparison to what will happen next. But for now, due to the obvious explosion, Flora is a little deaf in the ears, so he's troubling hearing properly. I also can't help but acknowledge this detail. Every time Flora is in a troublesome situation or just like a disturbing moment, we hear the recon aircraft drone from the start of the film, just as a reminder of that's the reason why he's here. Like, that sound is haunting in his mind. It's just, it's so good. I love this movie. It acts as a psychological reminder for us and our protagonist that his actions are why he's here now. Anyway, with the bombing stopped, with their time in peace in the rain, Flora and Glaska decides to dance and sing in the rain. Flora is still injured and slightly deaf, so he can't fully enjoy himself as he's like limping and like struggling to hear what Glaska says. Despite the fact he puts a smile on, so good on him, he's trying to be optimistic. So what's next in this scene? God, no, not this scene. Oh no. So the duo find their way back to Flora's hometown, his home village, whatever, you know what I mean, and decides to look for his family like anyone would. But something is wrong. The candles are lit, but no one's here. The food is rotten and full of maggots, but it looks fresh. The buildings are in ruins, so it looks like nothing has happened. And suddenly, while Flora is confused and just tries to be optimistic about it, Glaska decides to smile and run away, so Flora just does the same, assuming he's just having more fun. Which is what I thought as well. Look, they're both so happy and oh my god! Ooh, so who's gonna tell him? The whole village was decimated. No one was left alive. No women, no children, no men, no pets, nothing. all dead at that wall, like an execution, like a firing squad happened. And it's brutal. Glacier tries to show Floyd mercy by attempting not to tell him the truth, so just try to hide the truth from him and just like occupy him or like distract him in a way. Floyd then leads them to a bog because that's where he thinks his family retreated to as like a safe haven. As the situation gets just more messier, frustrating, and more annoying, Glacier tries to tell Floyd the truth. Either pure denial or just anger about the situation, he tried to kill Glasgow for saying such a thing. And my god, this moment, just hearing the recon drone again and the whole ambiance and the eerie music, you just see his psyche slowly breaking for what is happening to like his whole life pretty much. It's fucked. We can physically hear his psyche getting worse because not only we hear the drone, but also innocent civilians screaming and crying, which probably how he imagined his family dying in a brutal manner. But at this point, the psyche of both of them has gone a little cuckoo shit. And we also get one, I would like to say one of 3 most iconic shots in this film. I can't believe I haven't said it yet, but my god, I'm gonna butcher this name, so I'm gonna look here. Alexei Krablovsk? I'm sorry if I said it wrong, but you know what I mean. Really drives home just how fucked up emotionally and physically he is throughout the film. Is either that or he just on a losing streak in League of Legends. Either way, it's relatable, understandable. Fortunately, the strange duo, now bitter toward each other after, you know, the whole attempted to kill her thing, leads them to a group of villagers who survived the massacre, including the village elder who, well, how can I say this? Look like a KFC crispy chicken. And Mr. Chicken Man, I'm sorry, that's fucked up. Tells Floyd his family's dead and it's pretty much his fault why they're dead. All because he was a kid and wanted to be a soldier. Floyd takes this news pretty lightly, and when I mean lightly, I mean he tries to permanently not breathe air and shove his face in the dirt. Yeah, so he's not the happiest chap right now. But how can I move on from this light manner? Well, the new entourage, leaving Glasgow behind, because obviously she didn't want to stay with him at that point, makes a makeshift Hitler effigy just to make fun of the Germans, which, yeah, I mean, fight the power. And as they're doing that, as they're walking, you know, they try to survive, they land into a landmine field. Can they catch a break? Like, oh my god. Afterwards, Rusbev, I'm so sorry, Russians or Belarusians or whatever these names are, I'm so sorry, but the only soldier left with Floya from the whole entourage, yeah, the rest are dead, by the way, they're just gone. Tries to steal a cow from a farmer just for some meat and the milk, you know, just to get food, because you forget in war, you don't have shit, especially in that time, you're hungry. You gotta do what you gotta do. But apparently the Nazis aren't a fan of sharing, apparently, so instead of just letting them go or try to take it back, they just shoot them down, they gunfire them. And this scene is crazy how it's like a low budget international film and it looks great. Even as a filmmaker, I wouldn't call myself a filmmaker, relax Nick, relax. As a indie or student filmmaker, that's better. I can't think on the top of my head how they made these guns on fire crimson at the night like that. Like, it's crazy. Are they fireworks or are they just, I don't know, are they flares shot out? I don't know. Due to the shootout, both Rusbev and the cow get shot. No, not the cow. Making this whole venture pretty much pointless. Just leaving Floya to fend for himself. Floya tries to escape by stealing a horse. However, he does get caught, but instead of being punished, the farmer hides his identity when SS soldiers arrive. Pretty much saving his life, because if he got caught, he was fucking dead. As we get into the third act, we reach the most disturbing act of the whole film. And my god, buckle your seatbelts, boys. Hold on to your butts, because we're in a wild zone now. Floya has to pretend to be one of the villagers in order to survive, because like I said, if he gets caught, dead. The Russian Liberation Force harass the villagers, showing a lack of empathy as they take pleasure of the power they have, you know, typical Nazi shit. We've seen it before. Furthermore, they round up the villagers like cows, leading them to a farm, and only Floya has the idea of like what's going on. Or maybe the others do, but just have no choice of the matter. But Floyer, bless his soul, he tries to warn the others, telling them, I'm pretty sure Floyer knows what's about to happen to everyone there, but he gets stuck in the rain as well. Now, what happens next? I won't blame you. I might put a time code here if you don't want the details, but you did click on a disturbing movie video, so that's kind of your fault. The barn is overflowing with innocent civilians, from children to elders, everyone just begging to be let out. Only 2 people managed to get out. A young woman whose fate might have been worse than death, to be honest. Let's just say, for sensitivity purpose, I'm not going to joke about this, man. What happens to her is the same thing that happens in Irreversible. If you've seen that movie, you know. Maybe I'll tackle that movie in the future. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments down below. The other was Floyer, who, okay, I had to joke about this. Posing for a Mr. Beast thumbnail video in probably the most iconic side of the movie. If you've never seen this film before, you've definitely seen this image before. If you're like into films or a cinephile, you've definitely seen this image before. Regrettably, the rest of the villagers are burned alive by Molotovs, and if they manage to survive somehow, they are mowed down by gun. The whole scene just encapsulates wow, this whole movie is just terrifying. Seeing these horrific actions happen to people just like you and me, just normal, ordinary people living day-to-day lives, being ruined and being placed in extreme environments and circumstances, and given the context, just makes me sick. And the first time I watched this, I found it a tough watch. And I've seen a lot of disturbing stuff, but this one, it just felt so real, so raw. Fuck, the Nazis even degrade a sick elderly woman merely because they can. They have the power, which is sad. Hell, here's a little fun fact. The whole scene was too stressful for Alexis, the main actor who plays Floyer, that at his young age, he grew grey hair just from how intense the whole scene and filmmaking process was. You could just tell from the start of the film, he had nice blonde hair, till now, you sort of see grays on his eyebrows, grey in his hair. You could just tell how this war took an innocent child, put him in a disastrous situation, and just forced him to grow up in this disturbing environment, to say the least. To end off this disturbing scene, the girl who got abducted before was let go, bloody and soulless, as you can clearly see the abuse and what has happened to her. And unfortunately, she probably will never recover from this scenario. And this film is like one of the prime examples that uses the technique called the split dialogue hook. I might have mispronounced that, but that's okay. I know film. Which you might have seen in films like Ours or Evil Dead Rise, where both the foreground and the background are like sort of out of focus but in focus, and it's sort of warped. This technique fully, I would say, encapsulate how Floyer sees the world. Warped, disturbed, fucked. That's just how he sees it. And it doesn't spell it out to you. You just see from the techniques used and the actor's expression, and oh my god, this film is so fucking good. To end this movie off, thankfully the Germans were ambushed by the Partisans, the group that Floyer joined in Act 1, and kept several of them as prisoners of war. Seeing what they did and think about what to do with them, this has to be probably the most satisfying war moment ever, and probably more than Inglourious Basterds. Seeing what these horrible people did, and now having the role reversed on them, you see them beg, you see them cry, you see them plead for their lives, and even tease them a second chance, but deep down, all of them know we're not giving them a second chance. And in the end, just like the victims before them, they were mowed down, showing no mercy. A complete cycle. This movie ends in a way I did not expect. Floyer sees a painting of Hitler and tries to shoot it out of anger and despair, bringing a montage of Hitler's life in reverse. However, once it reaches his youth, baby Hitler pretty much, Floyer stops because he sees himself. He just sees that youth and just stops and cries. It's so powerful seeing Floyer so broken at this point, and all this harm that happened to him, all this stress, all this pain. But even at all that, he's still propelled to not killing innocents, including children, even though he knows what monsters they'll turn out to be. With this choice, Floyer affirmed his existence of his conscience. This also suits the movie's original title called Kill Hitler. What a raw title. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, ends Coming Scene. A frankly disturbing but fantastic coming-of-age story set in a horrific era. Elm's unblinking depiction of Nazi armies wreaking carnage on Soviet-Belarusian in 1943 enables us to view the disturbing, memorizing epic with fresh eyes as it turns Klonov's lens into a burning glass. Ever since its release, it's been growing notoriety and popularity, kind of both the same thing, but you know what I mean, and slowly garnered a cult following, and some even depict it as one of the best films of all time, and easily a contender for a best war film. And I think this has to help with the Criterion release. If it wasn't for that, I think its level of fame would be nowhere near without that release. As it's well deserved, this is personally one of my favorite films of all time. What gave that away from me gushing about it? And it's only one of the few films I gave a 10 out of 10 to. Its extreme and provoking visuals makes it one of the most daring films I've ever seen in my life, and only rivals Schindler's List in terms of the same kind of dread I felt watching it, especially for a war film. It's still way more disturbing than I've seen like gore flicks, horror movies, or just rape films, that sort of thing. But that's enough of my gushing thoughts. What did you think about Come and See? Have you seen it before, or is this your first time hearing it? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you want to see more disturbing movie reviews, let me know by liking the video, subscribing, hitting that little bell, and if you have any suggestions, also let me know in the comments down below as well. My name has been Notorious, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!